Alright, Phase 5 of the MCU has officially come to an end, which means we are now in the final stretch of Marvel's Multiverse Saga. There's been some good, there's been some bad, and there's a lot of hate that's blown out of proportion. Don't get me wrong, Marvel's definitely struggling with keeping the same momentum as the Infinity Saga, and the connectivity just hasn't been where it needs to be. But I feel like we just took the greatness of Phase 3 for granted. And now everyone just expects Marvel products to be as good as Endgame 2.0. Today, I'm going to go over how I'd personally go back and redo the Multiverse Saga. And before anyone comments that this is so much better than what we got, or this is why someone like me needs to be put in charge of Marvel Studios, just remember that we have the power of hindsight. They've no clue what was going to work or fail back when Phase 4 was getting started. And to be honest, if I was put in Kevin Feige's place, the MCU would probably be a hell of a lot worse. You might be wondering, didn't I already do this exact video? Yes, but that video is definitely outdated. I disagree with a lot of the ideas I had, and most importantly, it got a lot of views, so we're gonna run it back. But before we do that, let's just address what you're really wondering. Who is this guy? You're not Zach. And to that I would say, hi, I am Blaine. I am a voice actor, and I go over a bunch of comic content, like going over comics on my YouTube channel, Scooter Voices. Boom, hopefully that pops up there. But I do voice acting and comic content on YouTube and TikTok. I'm just covering for Zach for the week while he is gone. So you have me, Blaine, Scooter. Now with that out of the way, we can finally get into the video. But not before giving a special thanks to Young Metro, Reaver, and At Home Productions for being the 3 newest subscribers to the channel. And here's a little note from Zach. Mark my words, I'm going to use this channel to grow something bigger than I ever imagined, achieving whether that would be in YouTube or an actual career in entertainment. So the fact that y'all are subscribing and showing support this early when I'm such a small creator really means the world to me. If you want a shout out in the next video, be sure to subscribe. Thank you, Zach, for that little note. One last thing before we start though. We're going over phases 4, 5, and 6, so there won't be a lot of time to go into depth over every project. Instead, I'll just be quickly explaining each entry in the slate, highlighting the differences from our real world. And with that out of the way, here's the Multiverse Saga, done right. So, Multiverse Saga 2.0, I guess? Starting off, Phase 4. Kicking off the Multiverse Saga, we're doing Captain America Brave New World, releasing February 12th, 2021. This would basically be a movie version of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So we would just be highlighting Sam's struggles with accepting the shield. We would showcase USA Agent, the Flag Smashers as the primary antagonists, and by the end, Sam sets out to rebuild the Avengers, essentially starting what we would know as Avengers 2.0, the New Avengers. The first show on our slate would be WandaVision, premiering March 3rd, 2021. This would be very similar to the actual series we already got. The only difference would be in the finale where Mephisto is actually revealed to be working with Agatha, and Doctor Strange would actually appear to take in Wanda and help her heal, instead of Wanda be left on her own. Next, we would have Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings releasing on May 7th, 2021. Again, aside from the release date, the only real difference would be the post-credit scene, where instead of Shang-Chi talking to the group of Rocket, Captain Marvel, and Wong, he would actually get recruited by Sam into the New Avengers. And then after that one, we have Nova. This one is going to be our first fully original project, releasing on July 30th, 2021. It'd focus on Richard Rider as Nova, attempting to rebuild the Nova Corps after its decimation by Thanos. The only thing is that this rebuild is cut short when Richard realizes that several alien races are fighting a war to annex Earth, including that Annihilation Wave, Kree, and the Skrulls. Next, we have Hawkeye, show premiering on November 3rd, 2021. This is a hot take by Zach, but Hawkeye is his personal favorite show, and honestly, I have to agree. This show is a banger. I love this one out of all the MCU shows. The Christmas vibes, and the lengths they show of why Clint is in the Avengers in the first place, showing why he is probably the most underrated Avenger, at least in the comics as well, are just some of the reasons why the show is so good. The only things that I would change from this show is having Kingpin be more of like an imposing figure. He doesn't get shot in the face by Echo, and giving Clint a shared past with the swordsman instead, since that's a big character for the Hawkeye lore already in the comics. After that, we got Spider-Man No Way Home. And I know what you're saying.
It's only good because of the second half. The first half isn't as good, it's pretty weak.
I don't care. I'm not one of those people who are somehow like turning against this movie. It was an insane experience that meant the world to me when it first came out. I watched it in theaters like 4 times. So I'm not changing anything about this movie except for the addition of Scarlet Witch as a cameo. And I know I understand we could have had Kraven, but so it's what we got. It's good. So continuing on, we would have Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, releasing on February 11th, 2022. This is a bit of a touchy subject, but I would recast T'Challa. Chadwick Boseman revolutionized the comic book movie industry and made this character a household name. I understand if you disagree with recasting him, but I think the best way to honor him would be just continuing the legacy of T'Challa instead of completely scrapping the character that he brought. Having recasted T'Challa would obviously change this movie by a lot, so I would just have it be similar to how the original was, with keeping Namor as the main villain and having it focus on T'Challa wanting to connect with his son after being blipped. Next up, we have Miss Marvel, show premiering on March 2nd, 2022. I think the main difference would be dropping the Djinn stuff and focusing on damage control as the primary antagonist, since the villains were kind of all over the place in the show already. But other than that, we're gonna move on. Thor: Gods and Monsters next, releasing on May 6th, 2022. This would just be a very serious version of Love and Thunder, making Gore a more imposing threat and highlighting Jane's cancer as a major arc and in a respectful way. Also, Thor would wear his fur coat suit through the entire runtime instead. Then, the penultimate movie of Phase 4 would be Captain Marvel 2, releasing on July 9th, 2022. This would essentially just be half a better version of The Marvels and half a better version of Secret Invasion, with Carol teaming up with Monica and Kamala after realizing that Skrulls are actually turning against the humans and seeking to create the Super Skrull. And our boy Nova would appear. Then our last show of Phase 4 would actually be Loki, premiering on September 27th, 2022. Loki Season 1 was pretty good. The only thing that I would really change is having Loki progressively grow as a character throughout the show, instead of just having his arc be primarily contained to that scene in episode 1 where he watches that highlight reel over and over again with Owen Wilson, with Mobius. Ka-chow. And then lastly, ending Phase 4 would be Avengers: Secret Invasion, releasing November 5th, 2022. Captain Marvel and Nova would return to Earth to warn Sam and the new Avengers about the Super Skrull coming. It'd be more in line with the Secret Invasion event in the comics, with big characters revealed to be Skrulls, and the entire team is just shaken up by it. So a much bigger and more eventful project than the actual Secret Invasion show. So that will end out Phase 4. Phase 5 will be kicking off with Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness, releasing February 10th, 2023. So this one is actually getting a little bit different. Instead of Doctor Strange teaming up with America Chavez to fight Scarlet Witch, since we kind of rehabilitated Scarlet Witch in the previous phase, this would focus on Doctor Strange teaming up with her to fight Mephisto. We would do a lot better at highlighting a bunch of alternate universes, and Kang would be revealed at the very end. Next, we have Moon Knight. And let me tell you, Moon Knight is my personal favorite superhero. And I did love that show, and I think Ethan Hawke did really good in it, but I probably would have preferred Bushman as the main villain of that show instead. So that would be one of the major changes. And then also Jake Lockley would be showcased as a third personality throughout the entire season. And now we're going to do a lightning round, save some time. Guardians Volume 3 releasing May 5th, 2023. Nothing changes, that movie was amazing. Thunderbolts releasing July 28th, 2023. Movie was also peak. Nothing changes except for the new Avengers twist at the very end. We get Vision Quest, show premiering September 6th, 2023. White Vision tries to gain his soul back, runs into characters like Ultron and Jocasta. Blade releases November 24th, 2023. I mean, just let the movie come out. I actually think it'd be pretty cool if this set in an alternate horror 1920s themed universe, but come on, man. Let's just get the movie. Next, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, releasing February 9th, 2024. Kang would be a much more imposing threat, and this would introduce teenager Nate Richards as Cassie's boyfriend, who gets stuck in the quantum realm with them. By the end, Kang reveals that Nate's his variant. He kills Scott, I don't know, to like assert dominance or something, but Cassie and Nate is now Iron Lad, escape and seek to create the Young Avengers to stop Kang. Next, we have Ironheart, show premiering on March 6, 2024. Main change would be removing the magic subplot and having Ezekiel Stane be the main villain, since Mephisto was already dealt with in Doctor Strange. After that one would be Armor Wars, releasing May 3rd, 2024. This would be a direct spin-off from both Ironheart and Vision Quest, and it would give Rhodey his own movie with Justin Hammer and Ultron returning to be the main villains. After that, we got Deadpool and Wolverine, releasing July 26, 2024, and I know that the story was like kind of weak in this movie, but honestly, it's just meant to be like stupid fun. It's a Deadpool movie, so we'll just keep it basically the same with the addition of some Kang. And then lastly, Phase 5 would be Avengers Kang Dynasty, releasing November 29th, 2024. This would be one of the first multiverse experience for most of these characters on the Avengers, and would be an adaptation of the Kang Dynasty comic, focusing more on the multiverse stuff and less on like the time travel. At the end of the movie, Doctor Doom would appear and kill Kang. And with the death of Kang, we start Phase 6, the Fantastic Four First Steps, releasing February 14th, 2025. This would be similar to the movie we're already getting, with the addition of Victor Von Doom actually being a pivotal character throughout the entire movie. I know the movie's not all the way out yet, but at the end of this one, we'll see Doom's motivation and learn how he and the Fantastic Four actually come to Earth 616, or the main MCU. Next, we would have Thor: War on the Realms, releasing May 2nd, 2025. This would focus on setting up the different pantheons all going to war with each other. The payoff of this one is Thor vs. Hercules is set up. At the end of it, Thor and Hercules would team up and fight Ares. Next, we got Shang-Chi and Legend of the Iron Fist, releasing July 25th, 2025. I think it's great how Marvel made the Netflix shows canon to the MCU, but I debated just rebooting them here for the sake of Iron Fist. So instead, I just decided to have this movie focus on Lin Lea instead of Danny Rand. This movie would be more about Shang-Chi and the Iron Fist teaming up to take on the Steel Serpent. And then talking about Netflix characters, we got Daredevil Born Again, show premiering on September 3rd, 2025. We'd probably just keep this the same, honestly. After that, we would have Black Panther: Legacy of Wakanda, releasing November 28th, 2025. I don't really have any ideas for what this would be about, but I think Doctor Doom would definitely appear, and then having Achebe be the main villain. Next, we would get Doctor Strange in the Darkness Across Dimensions, releasing February 13th, 2026. This would be an adaptation of Time Runs Out and directly set up Avengers Doomsday. Then after that, we would have Wonder Man, show premiering on March 4th, 2026. Wonder Man is by far one of the most underrated Marvel characters, and I'm so hyped for this show to come out. This would be a meta-series that spoofs the superhero genre instead, and it focuses on Simon Williams as a Hollywood actor and his brother, the Grim Reaper, as the main villain. Next, we have Spider-Man Brand New Day, releasing May 1st, 2026. And go watch the last video that Zach made, because it'd be the exact same story as he pitched in the last one. But to sum it up, we just have the current rumors of Spider-Man and the Punisher teaming up to take on the Savage Hulk, with Mr. Negative as the main villain. Then after Brand New Day, we would have Avengers Doomsday, releasing July 24th, 2026. The Avengers finally take on Doctor Doom, who seeks to use anchor beings from a bunch of different universes as bombs to build his perfect utopia. Basically, the anchor beings would just be the MCU's versions of the Molecule Men, and it would be Doom creating Battleworld, just like in the comics. After that, we have everybody's favorite, Captain Britain, a show premiering on September 2nd, 2026. I thought it'd be cool to add a multiversal show and Captain Britain's corpse fill that. So this would be a show about the multiversal Captain Britain's dealing with the new Battleworld and the threats that come with Now we have the penultimate movie of the Multiverse Saga, which would be World War Hulks, releasing on February 12th, 2027. This would be set on Battleworld and deal with a bunch of multiversal Hulks coming together to fight Maestro. Then the final show would be Champions, premiering on March 3rd, 2027, and this would be our version of the Young Avengers, and would focus on a team consisting of Kate Bishop, Stature, Iron Lad, Miss Marvel, Ironheart, Wiccan, Speed, teaming up to take on the threat that the Avengers are preoccupied with, dealing with Doom and Battleworld, which would lead us into our last project, Avengers Secret Wars, releasing May 7th, 2027. This takes place on Battleworld. Avengers defeat Doctor Doom, and at the end, the MCU is rebooted into one. Just like what happens in the 2015 run of Secret Wars, but the end result of this universe is that it would be more comic accurate. So yeah, that's about it. So with that, we laid out the entire Multiverse Saga, phases 4, 5, and 6. So all I gotta say is thank you for watching or listening, however format you enjoy. I'm Blaine from Scooter Voices. Check out my channel if you want. Thank you, Zach, for letting me hop in and take over this video for you. So like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. You might get a shout out on Zach's channel in the next video. So with that, peace out.